Oh, geez, mornings like this make me so nervous, dude. You're just gonna be over the top screaming, aren't you?
No, you know what? This morning I feel good. I'm gonna be positive.
Is this a trick?
No, I mean it.
Okay, now I'm more scared.
Hi! Victory puppy!
I have no idea what I'm doing.
This team is ruining my life! What, the Leafs gotta win in order for me to give you guys a treat? BS. There you go, Iggy. There you go, Charlie. Boys, give me a paw. People think it's cute. No, Charlie, Iggy's got the right idea. Charlie, give me a paw. Charlie! There you go. You got it. You got it. People need you more when they lose anyway.
Leafs lose 4-2 to the Arizona Coyotes. Last night, I was mad and disappointed. I was mad-appointed. I wasn't yelling at the TV. When I yell at the TV, I care. Coyotes score, I'm like this. Janssen goes down with an injury, I barely react. Leafs don't get calls, they never get calls. That's how it works. But we know that. You're just being salty. Am I? Last place in the NHL in power play opportunities by 10. Receipts. You may be seated. But I felt nothing. Well, next to nothing. I was mad. But for the most part, I was numb. And it wasn't just because of the frigid temperatures outside. Although, just to drive the Leafs' recent slump home, this jersey, I noticed it started to stink. And the dry cleaner was closed, so I thought of my good friend Adam Wilde. And because it's like minus 25 outside, I actually put my jersey in the garage to petrify it to get rid of the smell. And I gotta tell you, it worked. I know right now Adam's like, victory! Imagine how much better it would smell if I actually cleaned it. But I'm just sitting there all mad. And my wife, the lovely Mrs. Dangle, turns on the football game. Patriots Chiefs. And I'm like, I do sports. And as I'm sure you know by now, the Patriots won. And you might know that recently on the podcast I said, I watch one Patriots game a year. The Super Bowl. Not much of a lie there. And I'm sitting there in my grump and I say to Mrs. Dangle, winners win and losers lose. The Patriots are winners. That's why they win. And the Leafs are losers. And that's why they lose. And I was thinking about how I was gonna come down here and just let the Leafs have it. And just yell and scream my brains out again! And then I thought, uh-oh, wait, you can't scream too loud. Because the past few videos, I've actually screamed myself hoarse. And I can't be hoarse because I gotta record my audiobook starting at the end of this week. And I'm blending coconut oil into my coffee and all kinds of disgusting stuff just to recover. Get that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do going. And then I thought, oh yeah, my book. Have I mentioned I'm writing a book? And then I thought about some of the things that I wrote. And you know what? I gotta practice for later in the week, so do you mind if I read you a chapter? It's just a short one. It's barely over a page. It's like a page and a half. I'm gonna read it to you. I'm gonna try not to use any jump cuts, and then we'll continue with the video. How's that? Sound good for everyone? Sound good? No one's actually here. It's just a bunch of figures behind the camera? Okay. Keep your head in your own boat. During high school, I competed in Dragon Boat. If you don't know what that is, it's a long boat that fits 20 paddlers in it, 10 on each side. For whatever reason, it sort of became our school's thing, sometimes getting up to 100 students registering to fill 5 boats. Our coach was a teacher named Scott Medill. He was one of the funny teachers, always clowning around, but our school won almost every year, so clearly he knew what he was talking about. Please don't let him read this. His head might weigh down the boat, and I don't want to put students through that. He always told us one thing: keep your head in your own boat. This quote is a variation of run your own race, which I also learned while running track. If you keep your head in your own boat, you will paddle better because you're more focused on your form and technique. If you're running, it's best to look straight ahead of you because looking to your side slows you down. Well, unless you're Usain Bolt, then you can just do whatever you want. Keep your head in your own boat is as true in athletics as it is in life. When I was younger, I wasted a lot of time looking at my peers. I did it in school, always feeling inferior when people had an internship and I didn't. Then once I got an internship, I started sweating that other students had actually found money-making jobs in the industry while I had none. Once I experienced some success, the YouTube channel, the Nike Olympic experience, Leafs TV, and so on, I became even more insecure. I wanted every day to be like the Olympics, and when it wasn't, I felt like I was falling off, like I was failing. Sometimes I would look at my peers and wonder if I was being leapfrogged. I couldn't help but ask myself why I wasn't where they were. How come they can do this? How come they got this opportunity and I didn't? I was asking all the wrong questions. That line of thinking made me resent others who I thought didn't deserve it and resent myself for being an idiot. I should have been asking myself, how can I do better? You're in charge of what you can do. If you have a strength, you need to know how to best use that strength. If you have a weakness, identify it, acknowledge it, and figure out what you can do to make it better. Sure, you can get advice and lessons from others. That's just smart. You should always be doing that. But never let the green-eyed monster steer your boat. Now, I promise the rest of the book isn't that preachy, but how do you think we can apply that to the Leafs? Like, man, the Leafs have a few days off and then they have one game left before the bye week when hopefully they'll just spend the whole week staring ahead in their own boat. Because it seems to me like they need a reset. Winners win and losers lose? You can look at the Leafs crest with resentment and I wouldn't blame you. Over the years, whether they began the season hot or cold, whether they made the playoffs or not, you knew sooner or later they were going to break your heart. Well, who's they? Because I'm looking up and down this Leafs roster, I don't see a ton of losers, guys. Mike Babcock, well, he does drive me nuts with being stubborn some of the time, and he put that Hainsey-Marincin pair out with 2 minutes to go. What was he thinking? He's won at every level. The World Cup, the Olympics, the Stanley Cup, he's won it all. Well, when he made the finals with the Ducks, he had Jaguar, and when he was with the Wings, he had the Wings. Dude, I don't really care how he did it. Go look at the Stanley Cup. You won't find a list of anyone's Corsi for percentage or the amount of hits they had in the playoffs. The Stanley Cup's sole purpose is to be a big, shiny 35-pound list of winners. Justin Hall with the Minnesota Golden Gophers, just seconds left in regulation, shorthanded, scores the game winner. Second round pick of the Blackhawks, finds himself without a contract, ECHL. Bust. Signs a contract with the Marlies, works his way up to a contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs, works his way up to be a Calder Cup champion. Garrett Sparks, AHL Goalie of the Year, Calder Cup champion. Andreas Janssen, Calder Cup champion and Calder Cup playoff MVP, even though he got there late because he was in the NHL playoffs. Trevor Moore, camp walk-on, gets a contract, works his way through the minors, almost wins playoff MVP himself, and is now a Calder Cup champion. Not to mention a player Leaf fans are dying for the Leafs to call up again. Travis Dermott, another Calder Cup champion who arrived late because he was with the Leafs. Also, according to EliteProspects.com, 2 Pee-wee championships in the 08-09 season. Freddie Gauthier, under 18 gold, World Junior gold, first round pick. Oh, they should have never drafted him. He's a bust. Calder Cup champion, NHL regular. Martin Marincin, oh, see, I told you he's not an NHL regular, Calder Cup champion. What hasn't Tyler Ennis won? WHL champion, World Junior gold medalist, gold at the World Championships, not to mention that he scored the championship winning goal. And he went through so many injuries and he got his contract bought out by Minnesota, and now the Leafs are without him and they sorely miss him because he's so good. Connor Brown, Erie Otters, 13th round pick. Did you know there was a 13th round? That's the round where they draft like the owner's kids to be nice. One time I got to interview Connor Brown and I wanted to be like, Connor, I wanted to ask you about a certain statistic from your draft year. And I hesitate slightly and he just goes, you can say it. And I go, well, you were minus 72. And he goes, yeah, I was plus 44 my last year. No one talks about that. OHL first all rookie team when he comes into the league. His final season in junior, most assists, most points, and most outstanding player. First year in pro, AHL all rookie team, most assists by a rookie, most points by a rookie. Everyone's talking about how the Leafs should move this guy, and I just think it's a dangerous move because all he does is prove people wrong at every level. Ron Hainsey? Well, in the conversation of winners and losers, that guy was a loser. For a very, very long time, no playoff appearances at all. He never even had the chance to be a winner. And on his first shot in the Stanley Cup playoffs with the Pittsburgh Penguins, he wins with a decor that is essentially made up of him, a pile of lint, and a bunch of rusty coins. Zach Hyman, as a young tyke, CJHL champion. But more importantly, how about this? He gets drafted by the Florida Panthers. Is so good that when it comes time for the Panthers to sign him, he kind of goes, nah, I'm good. So the Panthers trade him to the Oilers as punishment? No. The Leafs, the team he cheered for his entire childhood, traded for him. He doesn't produce enough in the AHL. Okay, he's been called up. He's not good enough to be on the first line. And there's Zach Hyman every shift hammering away at the opposition. Patrick Marleau, world champion, Olympic gold medalist. No cups though. Yeah, that's true. But when was the last time you heard anyone call Ray Bourque a loser? In 2010, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Jake Gardiner helped turn one of the loudest arenas I've ever been in into one of the quietest. All I could hear was him and Team USA celebrating because they were World Junior gold medalists. He's won despite the fans' boos once. Nazem Kadri, they can call him whatever they want. A rat, a jerk. He's not a loser. Think of all he's been through. That guy was raised as a Habs fan. And even though he was an OHL champion, his first experiences with the Leafs were with Ron Wilson and Randy Carlyle. And somehow, he's still here. Remember all those years we spent yelling and screaming for the Leafs to fire the coaches? He actually played for those coaches. And just think, when the Leafs finally do win the Stanley Cup, the picture of him raising it is gonna drive fans of other teams the most nuts. All I want to do is eat a bunch of cheese and go to bed and just dream about that. Hey, did you hear about that sick World Junior team Finland had? Oh, are you kidding me? That team had everybody. Mikko Rantanen and Sebastian Aho, Patrick Laine, their overtime gold medal winning hero, Kasperi Kapanen. His first NHL goal was to tie the game the Leafs needed to tie to make the playoffs. Everyone remembers the McElhaney save on Crosby. Everyone remembers Connor Brown tipping in the game-clinching goal. Cappy's the one who tied it. First NHL goal against the team who traded him. William Nylander, under 17 gold medal, World Championship gold medal. But it's okay, never mind that, because it's all of a sudden he's greedy. Well, look at him, he's got no point. Yeah, he forgot how to play hockey, you're right. Leafs gotta trade him. Ah, yes, the tried and true business model of selling low. Hey, as long as Willie's on my team, I'm Team Willie. And if you're not, which team are you on? What about Zaitsev? You're always saying trade him? Hey, as long as he's a Leaf, hell yeah, I'm Team Zaitsev. I was at the game where Zaitsev and Team Russia were down 3-0 to Canada heading into the third period of the World Junior Gold Medal game. And let me tell you, it's not a game I like talking about. If anyone's seen what it's like to crawl out of a hole, it's him. Frederik Andersen. Well, he's one of the best goalies in the NHL, but what's he ever done? Besides be literally the greatest goaltender in the history of his country. The Toronto Marlies are AHL champions, while Igor Ozhiganov is an MHL champion, which is the AHL of the KHL. Morgan Riley is a world champion, and I don't care if he wins the Norris. When you win it, do you get a day with the Norris Trophy? The correct answer is who cares? I'm not trying to go to a Norris Trophy parade. John Tavares, that's 5, Canada 5! He took a chance, left his comfort zone, took a huge risk to live his childhood dream because he believes in this team, he believes in this city, and he believes in himself. That is a winner's mentality. Per Lindholm, undrafted, he went to the Olympics for Sweden in a year where no NHL players went to the Olympics. Funsies, and he was ripping it up in Sweden. He could have stayed ripping it up in Sweden. But even though he knew he was probably only going to be playing a fourth line role, why not give the NHL a shot? Because winners don't want to pummel lesser competition. They want to be challenged by the best in the world. Mitch Marner, that dude has won so many trophies. He's won trophies that are taller than he is. But not his parents, because as scouts have noted, his parents are quite tall. And Austin Matthews, noted king of the slump at the moment. From EliteProspects.com, I'll just give you a little bit of time to read all of that. All of this. I don't know any losers from San Ramon, California, who grow up playing their hockey in Arizona, who literally get laughed at by their peers in USA Hockey just when they read where you're from, who can have 42 points in 34 games in an injury-interrupted season and still be disappointed in themselves. As for the Toronto Maple Leafs Cup drought, hey, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, it's been a while. But the list of players I just read are players on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And on and off the ice, they're winners. How about you? Are you in? If you're not, there's 30 other teams. Heck, screw hockey. You can do whatever else you want with your life. Are you in? If you are, great. Just know this. There's pain coming. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Pre-order my book. I got a link down below in the description. Leafs' next game is Wednesday against the Washington Capitals. They want to win too. Should be fun.